that you had you 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 could you do you want you could do so you do you could you want him to do you so much you could do anything.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. I don't know Theo Von. Maybe I'll get to meet him someday. Seems like a great guy. Had a really fantastic chat with Tucker Carlson. That was a really spectacular podcast. I encourage you go listen to it. However, I have worked tangentially with Theo Von before because I helped Vivek Ramaswamy with this answer at the Republican national debate 2 weeks ago. And Theo Von said, facts. I said, you should go after the moderators for this debate and say, why isn't Tucker Carlson, Rogan, and Elon Musk asking the questions? And Theo Von said, facts. Maybe Theo Von will get to moderate a Republican debate someday. I think that'd be fantastic. And I think that Theo Von may just be showing us exactly how true he would be in one of these debates. Star comedian has seen enough, declares Joe Biden has dementia. Theo Von, somebody who doesn't mince words, took to Twitter to say Joe Biden has dementia. Can we please stop parading him around and pretending he doesn't? It's honestly sad to do this to a senior citizen. If somebody did that to my dad or grandpa, I would whoop their ass, saying that this is elder abuse, effectively. And there's no other way to quantify it. When you watch Joe Biden walk into the bushes, when you see him fall off the stages, when you see him trip, when you see him be incapable of speaking the English language, it's elder abuse. Those closest to Joe Biden know this. Jill Biden is the most evil woman in all of America because of what they're allowing them to do to her husband. Joe Biden is a beleaguered, broken, diseased muppet of a regime that is desperately clinging to power. Theo Von followed up to a number of responses here saying, and this tweet, by the way, went thermonuclear, seen by 5.8 million people, 10,000 retweets, 107,000 likes, including that one right there. His family ought to be ashamed of themselves. Theo Von says, I agree. It's sick to do to somebody. It's not a representation of who I think we are as people. Yeah, that's right. Joe Biden isn't a representation of Americans. Would you let Joe Biden run your company? I'm not talking like a Fortune 500 company. I'm talking like if you had a hot dog stand, would you let somebody like Joe Biden do it? Would you let Joe Biden drive your kids to school? For many reasons, no. The answer for many reasons is no. It's evil, says one commenter on X. Even more so is the fact that they expect the world to believe this charade. Enough already. Theo Von saying, yeah. It's like they are creating Stockholm Syndrome with the rest of us. Stockholm Syndrome is when a person who's in captivity develops a psychological bond with their captors, supposed to result in a specific set of circumstances, namely the power imbalances contained in hostage-taking, kidnapping, and abusive relationships. So effectively, Theo Von saying that we're in an abusive relationship with a ruling regime that is propping up somebody that clearly has dementia, that isn't in charge, and they're trying to make him, or continuing to make him, the most powerful man in the world because he has dementia. What is dementia? It's a condition characterized by a loss of cognitive functioning, including memory, thinking, and reasoning, and can interfere with daily life and activities. Symptoms include difficulty remembering things, difficulty concentrating, and difficulty expressing emotions. People with dementia may also experience changes in their personalities. Early signs of dementia include, does this sound familiar if you've seen any clips of Joe Biden? Mood, confusion, difficulty concentrating. Let's see. Changes in their personalities, difficulty in expressing emotions. What does that remind you of? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring to your attention one quick 8-second clip of Joe Biden from just this week, where Joe Biden, who couldn't put on this t-shirt, needed help putting on this t-shirt, in the time span of 8 seconds, goes through like 3 different emotions for no damned reason. Watch.
Before, I watched it as a kid. I watched it as a senator. I watched what happened in my community. It changed everything.
Jeez, look at his face. Look at his old, twisted, sick, warped, worm-brained face. This man has brain worms. This man's not well. And his family is disgraceful. Do you know that his family joked about Joe Biden having dementia? Hunter Biden and his therapist joked about Joe Biden having dementia in 2019. The physical exam results from the White House did not include a cognitive test. So Joe Biden doesn't take cognitive tests, and Hunter Biden joked about his father having dementia with a family medical professional. A few months before Joe Biden launched his presidential campaign, Hunter Biden was exchanging text with Keith Abloh, the therapist and friend. The book highlighted that he said that your dad is the answer. Any man who can triumph over dementia is a giant. Think of what he can do for our nation in a needed recovery. What do you mean? What do you mean triumph over dementia? You're such an a-hole, but that made me laugh out loud, said Hunter Biden. Abloh went on to quote himself, saying, perhaps he can help us remember what we all intended to be, and he can now remember his address, prompting Hunter to say his dad doesn't need to know where he lives because that's the only thing the Secret Service gets right about 75% of the time. Oh, my. So Hunter Biden taking pot shots at the Secret Service. Abloh asks Hunter if his dad can recall details with the dementia and all. Hunter responded that he can't remember much these days, but since it's all fake news anyway, doesn't see the problem. Oh, okay, cool. How is this not the biggest news story in the world, country, in American history? That you have this medical expert who knows the Biden family intricately saying to Hunter Biden that Joe Biden has dementia, all but confirming that Joe Biden has dementia. And are they joking? It's a pretty sick joke to say about your dad, who clearly has some type of cognitive suffering. And don't take it from me, and you don't even have to take it from Theo Von, even though I like Theo Von a lot. You can take it from doctors. Dr. Mark Siegel on Fox News saying clear signs that Joe Biden has dementia. I thought we were supposed to believe doctors. Watch.
Now I look over the physical results, the physical exam results of President Biden. And at first I was overjoyed because it's long. Dr. O'Connor gives a tremendous detail. But when I looked closer, I saw some things that bothered me. One, no cognitive exam done, not even a mini mental status exam where we simply ask a few questions of the president or of any patient. Number two.
Wait, I'm sorry, may I interrupt you, doctor? I'm sorry, I just have to interrupt. I didn't know that. Is that normal that you wouldn't even include a cognitive assessment?
It is not usual when you do that extensive an examination. It should be automatic. I don't do it on every patient that comes in with a sore throat, but with extensive physical, it should be automatic. It's not there. Oh. Number two is the issue of his gait, Tucker, where they flat out say that his gait over the past year has changed. He's stiff-legged now. He doesn't have fluidity in his gait. And they brought in a bunch of orthopedists and neurologists who say it's due to arthritis in his spine and a broken foot, which we still don't know how he fell to a bicycle accident. But here's what's missing there, Tucker. No MRI of the brain, no MRI of the spines, upper or lower, no EMG nerve conduction studies. When you have a sudden change of gait, you wonder, is it tied in with cognitive function?
Right.
Is there fluid on the brain? Is it something with the spine? There's so many things that can cause that I would want to know about. To leave that out altogether, very concerning.
Oh, okay. So are we supposed to trust the experts or not? Because there are more doctors who are saying that Joe Biden has dementia, is unfit for office. Here's Ronny Jackson, a member of Congress, but before he was a member of Congress, he was the White House physician to multiple presidents, Democrat, Republican. Ronny Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, saying, nope, Joe Biden unfit for office.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Today, turns out, on this Monday, is Joe Biden's 81st birthday. And of all the things on his plate, the one thing he can't change is his age. And it looks like it's catching up to him.
Absolutely. Well, happy birthday to our president, Steve. I hope I don't have to say that in November of 25. But, I've been saying for quite some time now when he was candidate Joe Biden that I didn't think that he had the cognitive ability to do the job. And I'll tell you what you can do. I did this the other day. I went back and I looked at some video from him when he was running for president last time and compared it to video from now. And he has degenerated just quite a bit over the last 3 years. It's just incredible to see the difference. And I think now the Democrats are starting to get to the point where they can't deny it. I mean, the mainstream media has been talking about it for the last 6 months or so, but we can't endure this anymore. This is just, he's got these people that surround him that are inappropriately encouraging him to continue to run because it builds up, who they are and what they do. But, our border, our wars overseas, our economy, it's a disaster right now. And he can't do the job. And it's just on display every day that he's not capable of doing this job anymore.
And, Ronny, for folks who are unfamiliar, you were actually the president's physician for a number of presidents, George W. Bush, Barack Obama as well. So if you're saying he is physically not up to it, shouldn't his family say, Joe, maybe it's time to go?
Well, they absolutely should. I mean, the whole world can see, like you said, I took care of 3 presidents now, and President Trump was my patient as well. Right. And, this is a demanding job. I mean, you have to be on completely on your game 24/7, 365. And now he's going to be confronted with wars overseas and, everything's going on in our economy and our border while he's trying to campaign for president. He can't do this at all. I mean, they're going to try the strategy of keeping him in the basement again. But you're right, Steve. It's up to those people around him right now to tell him that this is, he's had a good run, to let it go. I mean, just convince him he's had a good run. I mean, I heard somebody say the other day, maybe they should just tell him that it's the end of the 2nd term now and let him think that he's done 2 terms and move on, right? I just don't know. But
that would be a good trick. Yeah, it was 8 years. Don't look at the books. All right, Ronny, thank you very much. Have a great holiday week.
If you need any further evidence, well, look no further than Joe Biden himself, as painful as it is.
When you build a charging station, it's like back in the day when my grandpa worked for the American Oil Company back in the turn of the 1920 in that area. They went from state to state convincing people that they allowed them to put 20,000 gallons of gasoline under the ground. They didn't want them around. I'm going to answer one. I'm not going to answer Ethiopia. Let's stick on the debt so we don't confuse the American people. How are we going to get this done and so on? Well, I told you before what my neurosurgeon years ago said when I had that aneurysm. A visiting field. Come walking out of the gym if you want, and you may get jumped by the other team or their supporters. You may be all by yourself, the only one standing there when you watch 6 people jump one of our teammates. I got them $1.9 trillion relief so far. They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential. I wrote the bill on the environment. Pay them more. $1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened? When I talk to all your folks out in the playground, as I joked, everybody knows I like kids better than people. Fortunately, they're like me. That's why maybe I like them. Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care.
Is there going to become a time where you might call him, old friend to old friend, and ask him to open up China to the World Health Organization investigators who are trying to get to the bottom of COVID-19?
Let's get something straight. We know each other well. We're not old friends. It's just pure business. And Ange walks up to me and goes, "Joey, baby!" grabs my cheek, and I thought the Secret Service was going to blow his head off. We have the tools. Now we just have to finish the job with truth. Pay your fair share. Just pay a decent portion of what we lay out in this piece of legislation. With providing professional education beyond 12 years. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio, make sure make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone, make sure the kids hear words. I used to love to drive. They don't let me drive anymore. And I have a beautiful Corvette sitting in my garage. I view it as a tax cut for middle-class families. A tax cut. We never have an argument when we talk about with the wealthy. This is a tax cut. It changes the lives. We have fewer democracies in the world today than we did 15 years ago. Fewer. Not more, fewer. and global health threat and a global health threat council. I can't think of anyone better to lead this operation than Deanne Criswell of FEMA. The looks like a tornado. They don't call them that anymore. I was able to go to the private ports with 40% of all products coming into the United States of America on the West Coast go through Los Angeles and what am I doing here?
What you're doing for the country.
Well, thank you.
Mr. President, what did you order?
Chocolate chip.
Oh, yeah. Mr. President, what is your message to Republicans who are prepared to block the January 6th commission?
Eat some chocolate chip. The first part of your question was, I can't remember now.
Should police officers, emergency responders, be mandated to get vaccines? And if not, should they be stay at home or let go?
Yes and yes. Now we're going to get down to business here. And Ron, who am I turning this over to? The two things that concern me. One are those who just try to make this a political issue. Freedom. I'm joined by the executive director of the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, Gene Soroka, and Mario Cordono. I apologize. And so ultimately, we've got a lot of work to do, and thank you all very much. But some of the stuff, QAnon, the idea that the Democrats or the Biden is hiding people and sucking the blood of children no, I'm serious. Are there people in the Republican Party who think we're sucking the blood out of kids? No, the little expression, time is money. As one computer said, if you're on the train and they say Portal Bridge, you better make other plans.
Must it be a reconciliation?
What must be what? I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.